For our guest speaker, I am honored to introduce Dr. Victor Rios, a professor of sociology at the University of California, Santa Barbara. He received his PhD at the University of California, Berkeley. By using his personal experience along with his research, Professor Rios has worked at improving the mindset of educational stakeholders and developing programs for students who have been left behind in their education. I personally have had the opportunity and privilege to hear Dr. Rios speak. I have read some of his books and have been inspired by his passion on cultural relevance, emotional support, and resilience. Help me in welcoming Dr. Victor Rios.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Buenos dias. Hey, I'm very happy to be here. I want to start by letting you know I'm not supposed to be here today. I'm supposed to be out in the streets of the neighborhood where I grew up, shooting heroin, snorting meth, with a lot of the people that I grew up with who are out there right now as I speak, doing that very same thing. And unfortunately, some of them have passed away, leaving their kids without a father, without a mother, and many times I have to show up and be there to support them. So, having grown up in that kind of struggle, every time I think about where I'm supposed to be versus where I'm at, I'm not supposed to be a professor at a fancy university, UC Santa Barbara, right on the beach. I'm not supposed to be the author of 6 books. I'm supposed to be dead 6 feet under with a bunch of the people I had to bury from a young age, starting from my middle school years all the way through my college years, having to bury uncles, cousins, best friends. That's the environment I came from. So when I get on stage, I always give thanks that I get to live another day, because I know that a lot of people where I come from, they don't get the opportunity I got. I'll end with this at the end of my presentation, but I managed to meet 2 presidents of the United States of America. And when I got out to Washington, D.C. to meet them separately each time, they asked me for advice on how to deal in my area of specialization. I deal with how police treat young people. So they asked me to give advice on that, and that was an honor to me to do it, but I was nervous. But coming from where I come from, like I better perform. I better be there. I better support. I better be there to represent my community, and I try my best. So I'll end with that story today. But before I continue, I do want to show a video clip of my story. I know they're setting it up right now, but just so you know, just a little bit about me and the work I do, and I'll continue the conversation. This is an important, moment, and I appreciate you being attentive. And Mr. Calderon, who, hey, he's solid. You know what he's been doing? He posts about my work on social media the last couple years. He's awesome. He believes in you. That's right. Let's clap it up for him and your other teachers. He's going to be walking around, and whoever's paying attention, he's going to be giving you a free copy of my book. Now, listen, that book on Amazon is worth $15, but if I sign it for you, it'll be worth $15.05. So you might get a signature from me after. All right, let's play that video.
Dropout crisis. Tonight, one man's journey from gang member and dropout was a professor, and his efforts to keep other young men from making his mistakes. Ray Suarez has our American Graduate Story.
My name is Victor Rios. In 1994, this was me. I was introduced to the nation in a frontline documentary. I was a gang member, a juvenile delinquent, and a high school dropout.
But in the 18 years that followed, Victor Rios earned his high school diploma, finished college, earned a PhD from the University of California at Berkeley, and wrote 2 books on his life and his research on juvenile delinquency. He now teaches sociology at UC Santa Barbara and helps at-risk youth navigate the perils of adolescence.
I'm sure closer to some people than others.
Rios is also a family man with a wife, Rebecca, and 3 children. Life is constantly busy.
To be this far into the future, I feel like I've lived 2 lifetimes. All right.
He came to the U.
So 2 lifetimes. 2 lifetimes. Think about it this way. Some of you, even though you're just, maybe 14, 15, 16 years old, you probably will agree with me when I said that you already probably lived an entire lifetime. You see, like my brother, he was 7, I was 3, and we were both born in Mexico. And when my mom tried to get us across, she was the only one that could get across the border. So me and my brother, we ended up on the streets of Tijuana, homeless and hungry, while my mom was over here trying to make money to bring us back. And so we're on the streets of Tijuana while my mom's working in the U.S. trying to make money, and my brother and I are surviving. And my 7-year-old brother had to grow up really fast because he had to take care of himself and he had to take care of his little brother. So for some of you, you already lived an entire lifetime. You know what I mean? Like, you've had to raise your siblings. You had to be responsible for yourself. You had to, put your own clothes on your back. You had to, feed your own self sometimes. That struggle is real for many of us. And that was my struggle growing up, because being born in Mexico didn't provide a lot of opportunities. So my mom's trying to get to a place where she would have more opportunities for herself and her children. So one day she's in Mexico, she's struggling, she's talking to her tia, and her tia says, "Mija, you have to go to the land of opportunity, a place where nobody goes hungry, a place where you can eat carne asada every day." You know what land of opportunity this lady was talking about? Canada. Because listen, my mom thought because she was listening to her tia, right? And I don't know what kind of TV shows this lady was talking about or what she was smoking. But my mom believed her. She said, "Mija, when you go to the other side, el otro lado, you're going to make a lot of money, eat carne asada every day. You're going to live in a big house with a swimming pool." Because in America, everyone lives in a big house with a swimming pool, right? No, we were living in an illusion, right? And so my mom tries to get us across together. We got robbed. The coyotes took our money. So then she had to leave us with this lady who abandoned us. And that's when my brother and I were on the streets of Tijuana, begging on street corners for money. Homeless, hungry. My mom lost us. She had to come back, hire people to find us. She finally had enough money, and they took her money again. So this time we had to go through the desert. And we ended up through these desert streams, over some desert hills, hiding behind desert bushes in the heat. And we got lucky. We're fortunate. We made it to Los Estados Unidos, because some people don't make it. When you're in this seat, getting an opportunity, right? Some people, I don't know, maybe your parents, I don't know. Maybe they didn't have an opportunity to have a seat in high school, right? Maybe they had to leave high school or earlier to work for their family. And you have an opportunity, right? You're here today with an opportunity to help your family and your community. So we're struggling. We make it to Los Estados Unidos, the United States of America, the land of opportunity, and we're about to be rolling in a lot of money. And then my mom goes and gets a job, and her boss tells her, hey, I'm gonna pay you whatever I want. And if you tell anyone that I'm paying you less than minimum wage, I'm gonna call immigration so they can send you back to Mexico. So my mom took this little bit of money, and with this little bit of money, she got us this messed up apartment. One thing I want to identify for you, young people, that you need to learn at a young age, like right now, if you don't already know this, is that a lot of our people, like my mom, get exploited. What that means is that they're the ones that work hard. They're the ones that are essential workers. They're the ones that make this economy pump, but they don't get paid what they deserve. Raise your hand if you know someone that is an essential worker, a hard worker, and doesn't get paid what they deserve. That's right. So it's your job as future leaders to make sure that people in our communities get paid what they deserve. That's right. So my mom's not getting paid what she deserves. She's getting paid less than minimum wage. She gets us this little messed up apartment in the hood. And this place, man, it was, we were trying to survive. But the windows, when the drug addicts would break those windows, the landlord was too cheap. So he put a piece of plywood up instead of a window to replace it. Outside, people were beating each other up, shooting at each other. One time I was 8 years old, man, this guy, he was high, I know it. An adult, a grown man, like my age now, came up to me, pulled a gun to my head, and said, "Where you from?" And I'm a little kid, man. And what do I do? What do I say? I just froze. And luckily, man, he got startled because he was high. You could see it in his face, and he just ran off. Right? That's the kind of environment I was growing up in. And we had big rats. And we had cucarachas crawling everywhere. I don't have to translate cucarachas, do I? So it was a bad situation we were in. And one day, man, I'm growing up in this environment. One day, I had to go get orange extension cord for the neighbor's house because we couldn't pay the light bill. So they shut off the light. And the neighbor was mad at me, and I just was like, man, please, let me have, a little bit of light so we get a light bulb in the house, We were struggling, man, having to beg people to help us. One day the situation got so bad. My little cousin, he's my little primo, he was 2 months old. He was my neighbor. He's sleeping in his crib, and in the middle of the night, while his mom is sleeping, the rats came, crawled on his crib, and they began to bite his face. They bit his lips, his cheeks, his gums. By the time that my little cousin is saved by his mom because she realizes what's going on and turns on the light, he's in a pool of blood. Ambulance had to take him away. His little face had to get fixed at Children's Hospital. And at this age, I was in 8th grade, and I told myself, man, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be poor. So I dropped out of school in 8th grade to help my mom pay the bills. One day, instead of walking this way to school, I walked this way to the jardinero's house, the landscaper's house. The guy in the neighborhood with the extra long truck and all the tools in the back? I went up to him. And in my neighborhood, this guy had a long pickup truck, and the name of his business started at the back of the pickup truck, and the name of his business ended at the front of the pickup truck. The name of this guy's business was Juan Jose Maria Guadalupe de la Garza Landscaping Services. His name was a little too long for me, so I just called him Johnny. And I went up to Johnny. I said, hey, Johnny, hey, Holmes, let me get a job. He says, you're too little. Go back to school, mocoso. I said, Johnny, please, man, let me get a job, man. My mama's broke. You can pay me whatever you want. Oh, I'll pay you whatever I want. Okay, get in the car. Let's go. I had got a job, and it felt good to have a job. I was going to work hard and make enough money to help my mom pay the bills. I was gonna work hard and make enough money, become lead gardener one day and buy the house of my dreams one day, help my mom out, buy her house. You know, I was living in this dream that working hard was gonna help me survive and succeed in this world. So raise your hand if you agree with me. When you work hard, you get the things you want in life. Yeah? Okay, does anyone disagree with me? Yes, why? Right here. Huh? You can work hard all you want, but it's not fair, because how many of you know someone that works really hard and still hasn't gotten all the things they want in life? That's right. So in this world, what's your name? Marcos? In this world, that's my brother's name. In this world, it's not just about working hard with your body, it's also about working smart with your mind. And I didn't realize this, so I go work with Johnny 10 hours a day. Guess how much he's paying me? $1 an hour. $10 a day. But hey, it was something, you know, at least I got something in my pocket. Buying some, you know, something to drink, you know, some hot chips, you know, and taking that girl out, I liked on a date, you know, that was enough money for that. But it wasn't enough money to help my mom pay the bills. I got tired of not making enough money. And I got tired of seeing people have nice things and I didn't have those nice things. You see, one day I go to this rich lady's house. And this, you know, rich lady, you know, the 3-story houses with the red tile roofs. Yeah, I went to one of those houses. I'm pushing the lawnmower, daydreaming. I go to this lady's backyard. Man, this lady, she has a swimming pool. She has a waterfall. There's even a statue of a little boy peeing in the pool. I go to the front of the house. This lady rolls up in a baby blue Mercedes Benz. This lady was older and she had curly white hair. She gets out of her car and she's holding a little white dog with curly white hair. And I said to myself, when I grow up, I want this house. I want that swimming pool. I want that little boy peeing in the pool. I want that baby blue Mercedes Benz. And I want that dog with the curly white hair. And if I work hard enough, I'll get these things. You see my message already, young people, is sometimes we get confused. We think that working hard is going to get us ahead in life. But what I did not realize is that the people that lived in this nice neighborhood and owned these nice houses, they were doctors, lawyers, engineers, business people that had gone to school and worked their minds. And so in life, young people, it's very important that you prepare yourself to work your mind, because if you're just working hard, you're not taking advantage of the opportunities available to you that maybe, I'm just saying maybe, I don't know. I know my mom had a 3rd grade education. That's all she was allowed to get. Then she had to work the farm. So maybe your parents didn't have an opportunity like mine. Or maybe if your parents did have an opportunity to go to college, and wonderful for them, and then they can support you and dream for you to go to college as well, right? But all of us have an opportunity to do that. We all have that opportunity. So, and take advantage of it, right? So I end up not making enough money, so I end up on the streets. I end up hustling. I end up stealing cars. I ended up going to juvie, grand theft auto felony, 3 times, separate times. I didn't care. I was really caught up in those streets. Suicidal. I didn't care about my life. People would drive by, shoot at us. I would stand with my arms up. I didn't care. I wanted to die. I wanted to go to prison. You know, that's where I was at in my very low moment in life. And I just had a lot of hate for myself too. And a lot of times, young people, you know, we grow up being told that we're good for nothing. We grow up getting told that we're dumb. We grow up getting told that we'll never amount to anything, right? When we get in trouble. And we start to believe it, right? And when we start to believe it, it becomes reality. So I want you to practice starting today
to actually tell yourself a positive thing every time you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, right? Instead of believing the negative that other people have said about you, I want you to start saying positive things. Even as simple as, you got this, I believe in you, you're going to do great in life. You know, telling yourself that every day, a positive thing, goes a long way. It helps young people succeed, right? Because then you're not putting yourself down and you're ignoring what other people have to say about you. So I'm in a very messed up place in my life. I'm on the streets, third time out of juvie. And I'm with my best friend I grew up with. We went to the other side of town to visit some girls we met. And the girls are sitting on their steps. You know, it's like a movie, you know, slow motion. You know, like they're wearing their makeup. We're walking towards them. I turn to make a bet with my homie. Hey, I bet you $5 I'll get the first kiss. Okay, I'll bet you $5. As we're getting a little closer, I look this way, and a group of our enemies are walking towards us. So my friend, he says, hey man, we gotta go. Because if we don't leave, we're gonna get beat up. And I said, man, we can't leave. We gotta stay here and throw down, because if we leave, they're gonna say we're cowards. So my homie in that moment, his heart was telling him to leave, but his homie was telling him to stay. And in life, young people, you gotta listen to your heart, not your homies. You know what I mean? Because the homies are always gonna tell you things that are maybe not no, let me rephrase that. Homies are gonna sometimes or often tell you things that might not be best for you and your family, right? So you gotta follow your heart and not your homies, right? So I didn't know this. At the time, I was just like, man, we gotta follow the rules of the street. So we stayed there, we threw down, and fists were flying everywhere. I fell down, I got back up. I fell down again, I didn't want to get back up. And that's when it happened. They pulled out a gun. We started running. I heard the gunshots, boom, 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 boom. I hit between two cars. I turned this way, these guys are running away. I'm looking for my friend. I see his feet. I get a little closer. My best friend had been shot. He passed away. At this moment in my life, I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't know where to go. So I went to the one place where someone had told me she would be there for me. I went to school to look for my teacher. I had this teacher, her name was Miss Rios. Right, that's my hero right there, you know. And I always ignored her. I was actually mean to this lady, ninth grade. I was mean. But when I was ready, I went back to her. Because one day she was, you know, I was cussed her out. She kicked me out of class. She said, right now you're not ready, but when you're ready, I'll be here for you. I remembered she told me that, so I'll go back to school. I hadn't been there in months. And I'm walking down the hallway, and I went to a big school, as big as your school, right, with that many students, right? And I'm walking down the hallway, and it's passing hour. You know, it gets crazy in passing hour. And she comes out of her class. She says, Victor, I heard what happened. Are you okay? And I'm trying to be a tough guy, right? Because all these people are around me. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. And this lady taps me on the shoulder, and she said, no, I know you're not okay. And right when this lady tapped me on my shoulder, all my pain, all my fear, all my anger began to grow. And I began to cry like a little kid in front of the whole school. You know what this teacher did? She opened her arms. She gave me a hug. She said, Victor, I'm here for you. If you're ready to change your life around, I'll be here for you. But you have to do the work. You see, students, when you're ready to make a difference in your own life, improve your grades, right? Get those A's and B's so that you can get yourself ready for college. to make your family proud, to help your community out, right? The teachers here in this room and at this school, they're going to be here for you, but you have to do the work, right? They can open doors for you, but you have to walk through those doors. So these teachers here, they care about you. They're going to be here for you. And many times we ignore them. But I want you to take them serious, because one day they might just become your hero, just the same way my teacher became my hero. Why don't we clap it up for your teachers? So, hey, I went back to Miss Russ, right? I'm like, hey, because I was 1 year behind in credits. I said, Miss Russ, I want to graduate. She said, okay, now I need you to come at 7 a.m., 0 period. Lunchtime extra credit, I want you to sign up at the community college at nighttime for units. And I said, Miss Russ, I told you I want to change my life, not become a nerd. And she said, well, this is what it's going to take, and you have to do the work. So she held me at high expectations, and teachers in the room, I want to tell you something. It's important to support our students. It's important to give them care, to create what I call an ecosystem of cariño, to embrace them, make them feel a sense of belonging. But I'm going to tell you something, and I know not all teachers do this, but some do. You know, we got to stop pitying our students. Pity is not prosperity, right? We have to also hold our students to high expectations, high rigor. All of these students in here can succeed, perform, and advance at high levels in this world. They could be leaders, professionals, politicians, lawyers, engineers. We just got to believe in them. Because young people, when you believe in yourself, you accomplish the unbelievable. So teachers, not just high emotional support, also high expectations, high rigor for these students, because all of them can live up to any expectations we have of them. Right, students? Clap it up if you agree with me. That's right. So this teacher had high expectations for me. And she would say things like, oh, Victor, I know, I'm so proud of you. I know you'll be able to graduate high school and go to college. I'm like, man, I'm not going to college. I'm just trying to get my units, graduate high school, and I'm just trying to become a mechanic. Work on old school ramflas, make $15 an hour, and live a happy life. And so as I'm catching up on my units, getting ready to graduate from high school on time and with my class, this teacher came up to me and she said, Victor, I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it. Now it's time to go to college. I said, college, me? Man, what is this teacher smoking, thinking I'm going to college? College ain't for me, lady. I told you what I'm going to do. And then she introduced me to Brown students like myself that were UC Berkeley college students. And then they kept telling me, hey, you know, people like us can go to college. And these students were from LA, from the Central Coast, Santa Barbara, Oxnard, all the way north, Fresno, Sacramento. They all had come from struggling communities, but they all managed to make it because they had worked smart and they wanted to help their families and their community. And they're like, people like us can go to college. And I was like, all right, I want to do it too. So I applied, I got accepted. I get to college. I'm not going to lie to you, students. College is tough, but it's also a lot of fun. Did you know that, like, in college, you only have to go to, some of my students only go to school twice a week. Did you know that? Yeah, just 2 days a week. You know that in college, classes are only about an hour, hour and a half long. And then you get the rest of the day to do whatever you want. Did you know that? Did you know that at UC Santa Barbara, and by the way, open invitation if you ever want to come visit, my email is public. That means you can find it if you Google me at UCSB, email me, I'll have you meet my students, and you could visit. And guess what? A lot of my students, you know what they do? They come and I teach in a class bigger than this. So I'm up here teaching them. And by the way, if you're bored in college, like right now, if you're bored or you have to go to the bathroom or take a call, right? You just get up and leave. Nobody's gonna dock your points. Nobody's gonna tell you anything because in college you got freedoms, right? You're your own person, you're an adult. So college is lots of fun. You know, my students at UCSB, they go to my class and on a sunny day, they cross the street, they go lay on the beach and study there. They have a good time, but it's also really hard because I had to pull all-nighters. Any of you raise your hand, have you pulled an all-nighter, not to party, to study? Have you pulled an all-nighter to study? Yes, twice in a row. Okay, so in college, you might have to pull some all-nighters, right? You might have to stay up all night just to study, but guess what? It's worth it, right? It's worth the sacrifice. And if you manage your time right, you might never have to pull an all-nighter. I know a few students that have never had to pull an all-nighter, right? But college is hard, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's lots of fun. So I get there, I was out of place. At the time, you know, I was wearing baggy Ben Davis pants, Nike Cortez tennis shoes, I had my Lokes on, and I was in the back of my college classes like this. And I felt like I didn't belong. You know, I felt like I didn't belong there, but I made myself belong there. Listen, a while ago, I was mentoring some middle school students from Oxnard, different middle schools. And one day I did a little summer program. That's my volunteer work. I like helping the youth. And they're from all the neighborhoods out here, right? And they were already starting to get really into it, if you know what I mean. Because those little ones, they get into it early sometimes, right? And they were really caught up. I mean, I'm talking going to jail already, juvie, in and out and getting shot at, right? You guys, some of you know that struggle. So anyhow, I was mentoring them here in Oxnard, going to their schools, running summer programs for them with my college students who would come here. And then one day, I took them to the collection to go to the movies. So you can imagine like I'm on a field trip with 25, you know, little middle schooler brown kids, right? We're going walking to the collection, and guess who rolls up on us? 4 security trucks. And they're like, what are you guys doing here? And I'm like, what do you mean what are we doing here? We're paid customers. And I pull out the tickets. I bought 29 movie tickets. And I go like this, and they just roll out. They drop on the ground. We're paid customers. Now you got to stop harassing these young people that are trying to improve their lives. And they're like, sorry, sir. And they got in their trucks and left. So the reason I tell you that story is because maybe sometimes you're going to be approached in a place where you don't belong. But when you're approached like that, you have to remember to stay strong, stay positive, right? And don't let other people define you based on what they think about you. Because you know why they hit us up. They thought we were there to steal stuff, right? So people were trying to define us. Oh, you guys are going to come in and steal stuff. That's why we don't want you here. We have to change the stories that other people tell about us. The only way you're going to change the story that other people tell about you is by you being the creators of those stories. And that's when you become educated so that you can become leaders, educators, politicians, media people, journalists, so you could tell our stories, not other people tell our stories. That's right. You tell our stories, not other people tell our stories. Yeah. So after college, I said, man, after all I've been through in life, I want the highest degree possible, the PhD, and I'm going to apply to UC Berkeley because I think it's going to be a good place for me. So I applied to UC Berkeley, #1 public university in the country. Now is ranked this year, just a couple weeks ago, is ranked the #1 university in the world, UC Berkeley. So I go there, applied, I got accepted. I get there, it takes 7 years to finish a PhD on average there. It only took me 4.5 years. You know why? Because I'm hungry to help my family and my community, that's why. Because when we get educations, when we work hard in school, when we pull all those all-nighters to study, when we're taking difficult classes, when we're trying to get A's and B's, we do it to help our families and our communities. So in the year 2005, 4.5 years after enrolling at UC Berkeley, I became Dr. Victor Rios. Thank you. All right, so remember, when you believe in yourself, you accomplish the unbelievable. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta give yourself positive self-talk, right? Every day. Number 2, obstacles make some people break, but they make others break records. I'll say it again. Obstacles make some people break, but they make others break records. So I want you to think about, are you someone that gets broken by your obstacles, or are you someone that becomes a record breaker? That's up to you, right? You decide. Oh, Dr. Rios, I don't have a father, so I'm giving up on life. Oh, Dr. Rios, I don't have any money, so I'm giving up on my education. Oh, Dr. Rios, someone said I'm a thief, so I'm a believer and I'm a thief now. Nah. Because those young people we helped, all 25 of them, we worked with them to believe that they could do more than what some other people had said they could do. And they were all already getting Fs and getting suspended in middle school. And they improved their thinking about their future, right? Because that's what it's about. Improving the way we think about our future. I want you to, for 1 second, students, and by the way, thank you so much for listening to me. We only got 6 minutes left, and y'all have been incredible listeners. I appreciate you. Clap it up for yourselves, actually. So, just give me 6 minutes. Can we do that? Okay, just 6 minutes. So check this out. So I graduated Berkeley on a Sunday, and I'm thinking, man, I put in 9 years into my education. That's a lot of time, man. And then I start to think, and a lot of young people ask me, hey, Dr. Rios, that's a lot of time, man. How can you handle so many years? 9 years, that's a long time, man. Education, I go, you know who I think about? I think about my homies doing 25 years to life at St. Quentin Penitentiary, and I'm like, what time would I rather do? 25 years to life or nine years in college? I'll pick 9 years in college, you know what I mean? So then I graduate Berkeley on a Sunday. On a Monday, I go to the bank and I ask for a home loan. I get approved, and I'm not gonna lie to you, they were trying to judge me. Like, oh, you can't possibly get approval for a loan, and it's all because of my look. Then I showed them a papelito, which means piece of paper. So the only difference between me and you is a papelito. That's a piece of paper that says that I've graduated with a PhD, right? So I showed them that papelito, and they're like, oh, here you go. They approved my loan. I go buy a house. I go drive to my mom, this is weeks later. I drive to my mom's messed up apartment. I walk up the steps. I knock on her metal door. She opens the door. You know that look a mom gives you when she hasn't seen you in a while? ¿Qué pasó, mijo? How you doing, son? I'm nervous. My leg is shaking. I put my hand in my pocket. I pull out the key. I said, Mom, I'm sorry you had to wait 30 years, but here's the key to your own place to live. You see, young people, that's the power you have with your education, not just to help yourself. Education is never just about you. Education is about helping yourself, your family, and your community. Your family, you help them out however you can. Your community, you help them out by propping people up in your community. It shouldn't be outsiders like me coming up, Oxnard helping middle schoolers out. It should be you guys, right? And you come back one day, like some of your teachers that grew up here that I was just talking to. They grew up here. They could have got higher paying jobs, but they decided to stay in their community and invest in you because they believe in you and they got love for you. Yeah, let's clap it up for those teachers. I call them the BTD teachers. Been there, done that. That's your BTD teachers.
teachers? Any BTD teachers in the room? Raise your hand. BTD teachers, been there, done that. Yep, they grew up here. Look, they came back. They didn't abandon you guys. You know what I mean? All right, let me end with meeting the president. How about that? You want me to end with that? In 3 minutes. I know y'all are getting a little angsty. I got 3 minutes with you. So this side, can you give me respect for 3 minutes? Can you respect me for 3 minutes? That's all I ask. Because y'all are getting rowdy up in here. Okay, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, that's it. Ole pues, here we go. So one day, right, I wrote this book about how young males of color get policed, right? How they get criminalized by police. So I wrote this book, and one day I get an email, and it was from the White House. I was like, we're going to fly you to D.C. to advise the administration on gun violence and policing in America. I was like, all right, I guess. So I fly out there, not to represent for my community, for my people. So I sit there in the Eisenhower building. That's where they handle business. You can look out the window and see the Oval Office. And I'm talking to the Domestic Policy Council. Those are the people that, you know, do the laws for the president. I'm looking out the window, hoping to see the president. It was the Obama administration. President Obama was in office. So I didn't see Obama at that moment, but afterwards, they put us on the White House lawn, right in front of the White House outside. We're meeting Congress people and stuff. And then the president comes out and he gives a speech, and he walks up to people and starts shaking hands. And he comes up to my son and I was holding my son in my arm. And he looks at my son. My son was little, right? He's a toddler. And President Obama looks at my son. He puts up his hand and he says to my son, "Give me 5. Don't leave me hanging." And in that moment, when my son's hands and the President of the United States' hands touched, guess what I'm thinking about? That when I was his age, I was homeless in the streets of Tijuana, begging people for money so I could survive. So young people, in one generation, I made a change for the better. I help my family, I help my community as much as I can, and I help myself. And I want you to have the power today to decide that from now on, you're going to believe in yourself, you're going to turn your obstacles into stepping stones, and then you're going to leave here not just working hard, but working smart. My name is Dr. Victor Rios, and I want to thank you for your time. Gracias. Gracias. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Trends. Today was about reflecting on who we are and who we want to become. What we have individually experienced throughout our lives matter. Who we want to be matters. The choices we make matters. I'm a girl that grew up in the south side of Oxnard with farm worker parents, lost a brother at a young age, and experienced many income barriers. And like a handful of our teachers here, I am first-generation college graduate. I have the privilege